Hi, I'm Allie, the hands behind the turtle trunk, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet this cute little amigurumi banana. If you're following along with the Pregnancy Progress Project, this is week 20 when baby and banana are both about 6.5 inches long. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Now let's get started. For today's tutorial, you will need medium weight yarn in the colors yellow and cream, a 4mm or G hook, polyfill stuffing, a yarn needle, stitch marker, scissors, and optional supplies include two 10mm black safety eyes and black crochet thread. We're going to start with our yellow yarn and we're going to begin with a magic circle. So we are going to wrap our yarn around our index finger and our middle finger, wrap it around once, bring it around to the back, and we're going to take our hook under the first strand, grab onto the second strand, pull it up, hold on to that with our hook hand, and then we're going to secure the circle with a chain 1. And for round 1, we are going to work 8 single crochets inside of the circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're going to take the tail end of our yarn and just pull it tight to close up that hole. And for round 2, we're going to work straight into the first stitch of the previous round. So we're not going to be joining or anything. We're going to work straight into that stitch. So we're going to work 1 single crochet into the first stitch. And I'm going to grab my stitch marker to mark my place so we know where we started. And then I'm going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So that was 1. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So at the end of round 2, our stitch count will still be at 8. And now for round 3, we are going to work 1 single crochet into the first stitch. And then 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And then 1 single crochet into the next stitch. And then 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And we're going to repeat that around. And in the last stitch, we're going to work 2 single crochets. And at the end of round 3, our stitch count will be 12. So for round 4, we're just going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So 1 into the first, 1 into the next. We're going to work 1 in each stitch around for a total of 12 stitches. So I'm just coming up to the last stitch, and in the last stitch we'll work 1 single crochet. So at the end of round 4, our stitch count will still be at 12. And for round 5, we're going to work 1 single crochet into the first stitch, 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. So that'll be 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochets in the next. And we're going to repeat that around for round 5. So 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochets in the next. I'm going to work 2 single crochets in the last stitch. And at the end of round 5, our stitch count will be at 16. For round 6, we're just going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch around. One in the first, one in the next, one in the next, and we're just going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch around for a total of 16 single crochets around. So at the end of round 6, our total stitch count will be 16. And now we're on to round 7, and this is going to be our final increase round. So in the first stitch, we're going to work 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet into the next stitch, 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 single crochets into that 4th stitch. So we're working 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then 2 single crochets in the next. And we're going to repeat that around for round 7, 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then 2 single crochets in the next. And in the last stitch, we're going to work 2 single crochets. And at the end of round 7, we'll have a total stitch count of 20. And now for rounds 8 all the way through to 16, so that's a total of 9 rounds, we are just going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So 1 single crochet into the first, 1 into the next, and we're just going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch around for a total of 20 single crochets for each round. So this is round 8, and we're going to repeat that all the way to the end of round 16. So we should have 9 rounds of just single crochets, 20 stitches in each round. And we're just going to repeat that around. So I'm going to catch up with you guys at the end of round 16. Our stitch count should still be at 20. So I just reached the end of round 16, and we should still have a total stitch count of 20 around. So now we're going to move on to round 17. And for round 17, we're going to start making the peel flip down. So we are only going to be working in the front loop for this round. So when you look at your stitch from the top, you'll see that you have a back stitch and a back loop and a front loop. So we're going to work our first single crochet of round 17 in the front loop only. So insert your hook and only grab the 1 loop and work 1 single crochet. And we're going to do that 5 more times so that we have a total of 6 single crochets in the front loop only. So this is going to be 2, 3, 4, make sure you're only picking up the front loop, 5, and 6. Okay, and then we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. So we're going to be making 3 peels all together. So we're going to make 1 full one, come back down, make another, go back down and make another. So for our first peel, we're now on row 2. We're going to be working the peels in rows. And what we're going to do is we're going to start decreasing so that it comes to a point at the end. So for row 2, we are going to single crochet in each stitch across. So that's 6 single crochets across. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Chain 1 and turn. For row 3, we are going to single crochet 2 together. So we're going to take these 2 first stitches and turn them into 1. So we're going to single crochet 2 together, single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2, and then single crochet the last 2 stitches together. Single crochet 2 together. Okay, and at the end of row 3 of this peel, we'll have a total stitch count of 4. Chain 1 and turn. We're going to single crochet in each stitch across. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to chain 1 and turn. We should still have a stitch count of 4. And then we are going to single crochet 2 together in the first 2 stitches, and then we're going to single crochet 2 together in the last 2 stitches. So now we have 2 stitches, chain 1 and turn. We're going to single crochet in each of those 2 stitches, 1 and 2, chain 1 and turn. Then we're going to single crochet 2 together in the last 2 stitches. So we only have 1 stitch now, chain 1 and turn. We're going to work 1 single crochet in that last stitch, chain 1 and turn. And now we're going to work down the side of the peel to get back to the base. So what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch, work 1 slip stitch into each row that we just made to get all the way down to the bottom. So we're going to work 1 into the same stitch, same row we were just in, and work all the way down. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we worked 1 slip stitch into each row. Now we're back to the bottom, and we're going to work a slip stitch into the next stitch around the bottom, working only in the front loop still. So slip stitch there. And then we're going to repeat what we just did for this peel. So in the next 6 stitches, we're going to work 1 single crochet in the front loop only. We're going to continue around only in the front loop only. So 1 single crochet in the front loop only, and then 1 single crochet in the front loop only. Repeat that 4 more times for a total of 6. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, we're going to chain 1 and turn. 1 single crochet across. So in the next 6 stitches, 1 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Chain 1 and turn. We're going to single crochet in the first 2 stitches, work 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then single crochet 2 together. Chain 1 and turn. We're going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch across. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that was row 4 of this peel, and we should have 4 stitches. Chain 1 and turn. We're on row 5, and we're going to single crochet 2 together in the first 2, and then single crochet 2 together in the next 2. And that's going to bring our stitch count to 2. Chain 1 and turn. For row 6, we're going to work 1 single crochet in those last 2 stitches. Chain 1 and turn. We're going to single crochet 2 together in the last 2 stitches. Chain 1 and turn. And for row 8, we're going to work 1 single crochet in that last stitch, chain 1 and turn, and now we're going to slip stitch down the side of the peel to get us back down to the base. So starting in that first row we were just in, we're going to work 1 slip stitch. Oops, getting all tangled up. Okay, 1 slip stitch in that first row, 1 in the next row, 1 in the next. And that was 8 slip stitches all the way down. And then in the next stitch down around the bottom, working in the front loop only, we're going to slip stitch And then in the next stitch, we're going to work a single crochet. And again, we're going to work 6 single crochets across or around. So it's 1, 2, making sure we're only working in the front loop only. Oops, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And as you see, we're back to the beginning now. So one last peel to go. So chain 1 and turn. Work 1 single crochet across in each stitch across. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Chain 1 and turn. We're going to single crochet 2 together in the first 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and then single crochet 2 together in the last 2. So we should have 4 single crochets across. And now on to row 4, where we're going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch across. So keeping the stitch count at 4. Chain 1 and turn. We're going to single crochet 2 together in the first 2, single crochet 2 together in the last 2. So our stitch count is now at 2. So for row 6, we're going to work 1 single crochet in each of those 2 stitches, chain 1 and turn. For row 7, we're going to single crochet those 2 last stitches together, chain 1 and turn. And for row 8, we're going to work 1 single crochet in that final stitch, chain 1 and turn, and we're going to work a slip stitch in each of the rows down. So slip stitch into the first one, second, third, 4, 5th, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so we're done all of our peels now, and now what we're going to do is we're going to change to the cream color and do the inside of the banana now. So we're going to go back to the back loops of round 17, and we're going to attach to there and then attach the cream color and then keep working up. So what we want to do now to get back to that inside, we are going to work a slip stitch into the base of the very first peel that we started. So you can see right there, that's where we had made our first single crochet of the first peel. We're just going to work a slip stitch there, and that's just going to attach the first peel and the last peel. So to attach our cream color, we're going to go back to the back loops of round 17. So you find that first one, so it's going to be behind the very first single crochet we made of round 17. So find the back loop and insert your hook into that back loop. Drop your yellow color and grab your cream color. And I'm just going to leave a little bit of a tail end, wrap that around my hook, bring it through that first loop on our hook, and then work a single crochet. So yarn over and pull through the 2 loops on the hook. Okay, so that's going to be our first single crochet. So I'm just going to put my stitch marker on there so I know when I get back around which one that was. And now we're going to work 1 single crochet around, working in that back loop of round 17 only. So find that next back loop. So it helps if you kind of put the peel down and they're kind of just going to pop right up. as you can see that those back loops are just kind of sticking out. Okay, so we're going to work a single crochet back loop only. The next one into the next. We're just going to continue around working one single crochet in the back loop only around 17. And our stitch count is going to remain at 20. So when we ended round 17, we had 20 single crochets, so it's going to still be at 20. So it helps if you use your stitch marker and then also count your stitches to make sure that you're doing the right amount. So I'm just coming up to the last few stitches. So this is 20. So now that we started that, I'm going to cut my yellow yarn just to keep it out of the way. I'm just going to hide that tail end just inside. Okay, so that was the end of round 17. Since that was worked in the back loop, we're going to still count that as round 17. And now we're going to move on to round 18. So for round 18, I'm going to remove my stitch marker, and into that first stitch, we're going to work one single crochet. And we're going back to working in both loops again, so front and back loops. Okay, so one single crochet in the first stitch. And we're going to work one single crochet into each stitch around, working again in the front and back loops. So just how you would make a normal single crochet. One single crochet in each stitch around for a total of 20 single crochets. And we're going to repeat that around all the way to the end of round 24. So this is round 18. So we're going to repeat that into the end of round 24. Working one single crochet into each stitch around, keeping our stitch count at 20. So I'm just coming up to the end of round 18. Should still have 20 single crochets around. And now for rounds 19 all the way to 24, we're just going to single crochet into each stitch around. So I'm going to continue doing this. One single crochet into each stitch around for 20 stitches around, 20 single crochets around. And I'm going to catch up with you guys at the end of round 24. So I just reached the end of round 24, and we should still have 20 single crochets around. And I'm just going to stop right here so we can put on the eyes and the mouth. And if you don't want to put on the eyes and the mouth, you can carry on to round 25 and just continue to close. So I'm going to stop here. So I'm just going to leave a little bit of a loop, and I'm going to turn the banana around. So where we've been starting and stopping is at the back. And I'm going to grab my safety eyes and my black crochet thread. And I will also need my yarn needle to put on the smile. So just find a good spot wherever you want to put the face. I think actually I'm going to do it so it's in between two of the peels. So just on the back right here. Okay, so I'm going to put my eyes on first, and I think I'm going to put them... try and figure out what rows I want to put them between. I'm thinking maybe about there. So that was 17, 18, 19. So I think I'm going to go between rounds 19 and 20. And I usually like to put them about 4 stitches apart. So let's see how that will look. So I like to just place the eyes in first, but not put the backings on until I have the mouth on too. And just to make sure that I don't want to lock them down and then decide to change it. So I'm just going to try that out first, and then I'm going to grab my crochet thread. And I always just make a little bit of a little V shape. So I like to put it centered between the eyes and then one stitch down. So I'm going to go right beside the eye and then go one stitch down and just try and keep it as centered as possible, which is sometimes a little difficult with crochet because the rows aren't lined up perfectly. And back down the center. Okay, let's see how that is. Well, I think that's pretty cute, so I think I'm going to leave that as is. So I put my eyes between rounds 19 and 20, and then I put the top of the smile in those same rows, and then one stitch down. So I'm going to flip it inside out, tie my crochet thread in a nice secure knot. And I don't like to do the smile too tight, else it pulls in the stitches a bit, so I try and keep it a little bit loose. And then I'm just going to trim the excess thread. I'm going to grab the backings to my eyes and just make sure those snap on nice and tight. All right, so flip that the right way. And that's pretty good. So I'm also going to start stuffing the banana a little bit. I'm not going to do it all the way. I just want to get some in at the bottom. So I'm going to grab a handful of my polyfill stuffing. I'm just going to get that all the way to the bottom. And you can stuff yours as much or as little as you'd like. It all depends on how you want it to feel. The more stuffing you put in it, the stiffer it will be. The lesser amount will make it a little bit more squishy. So I put in about 2 small handfuls, and I think that's good for now. I'm going to keep working at the top, and then I'll add more if I need to before I close it up. Okay, so we're going to move on to round 25 now. And starting with round 25, we're going to just start slowly closing up the top of the banana. So for round 25, we're going to work 1 single crochet into that first stitch. One single crochet into the next, 1 into the next, and then single crochet 2 together. So we're going to work 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, 2 and 3, and then single crochet 2 together. And repeat that all the way around. So 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches, 3, and then single crochet 2 together. 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then the last 2 stitches, single crochet 2 together. Okay, so at the end of round 25, our stitch count will be back down to 16. And then for round 26, we're just going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So that was 1 into the first, 1 into the next, 1 into the next. Just repeat that around. 1 single crochet into each stitch around. And just coming up to the last couple stitches. So at the end of round 26, our stitch count will still be at 16. For round 27, we're going to work 1 single crochet into the first stitch. Oops. And we're going to work 1 single crochet into the second stitch, and then we're going to single crochet 2 together. And we're going to repeat that. So 1 single crochet into the first 2 stitches, and then single crochet 2 together. Single crochet the next 2 stitches, and then single crochet 2 together. 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, And in the last 2 stitches, we're going to single crochet 2 together. So at the end of round 27, our stitch count is now going to be at 12. And for round 28, we're going to work 1 single crochet into that first stitch, and we're going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch around. Okay, and before we move on to round 29, since our hole at the top is getting quite small now, I'm just going to finish putting my stuffing in and get it just as I want it before we close this up all the way. Okay, I think that's good for me. So moving on to round 29. We are going to work 1 single crochet into that first stitch, and then we are going to single crochet 2 together. 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then single crochet 2 together, and we're going to repeat that. 1 single crochet into the next stitch, single crochet 2 together, and one more time, 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then in the last 2 stitches we're going to single crochet 2 together. So at the end of round 29, our stitch count is now going to be at 8, and for the last round, round 30, we are just going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So 8 more single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So to finish up the top, because we still have a small hole at the top, I am going to work a slip stitch into the next stitch, chain 1, and I'm going to cut off my yarn. I'm going to leave about a 6-inch tail. Take my hook and pull the strand through, and then I'm going to grab my yarn needle, thread my yarn through it, and in these last 8 stitches I'm just going to weave my yarn in and out. Okay, and when I get through all 8, I'm just going to pull, and that's just going to close up the hole at the top. And we're just going to secure it with a couple tight knots. Okay, and we're just going to weave our end in the top a little bit, and then just hide the end inside of the banana. Push it through, cut off the excess, so the inside of the yarn is just going to be on the inside. And there we go. There's our little banana. Thank you so much for following along, and I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, I'd love to have you a part of the Turtle Trunk family. Leave a like and comment down below and let me know what you thought about this banana pattern. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and be sure to take your photos with the hashtag TurtleTrunkLove so I can see your finished creations. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.